Hey, this is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. So I'm John. I'm here with my special guest, Hector the Chill Dude from the Chill Dude on the Couch Reviews. We're doing our first collaboration video, and we're going to be talking about the band Ghost. So we each made a list of our top 10 songs. We're going to just count down, starting from our number 10 to our number 1. And that will be it. So Hector, you're ready, right?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you
Okay,
for the
cool.
invite.
All right. So this is new. I guess I'll start just so you kind of get an idea of what we're doing. So basically, I'm gonna start at number 10. So on my list, I chose one from their first album, and the name of the song is called Elizabeth, and it's from the first album is called Opus, but Opus something like that. And it's about a historical figure called Elizabeth Bathory, and she was like one of the first serial killers. And it tells that story, and it's kind of like a heavier song, has some like classic metal riffs, and kind of also reminds me a little of like King Diamond. It kind of do some of those like falsetto vocals, and that very like haunting type of song that has that tone to it, very haunting, like that organ sound and some of those like metal riffs. So that is the one I chose. To be honest with you, like this is the only song I have from the first 2 albums. I think everything else is gonna come from like the 3 last albums. But anyway, that's my number 10. So I'll let you. You want to go
Yeah,
next?
no, that's a great song. So,
You like it?
yeah, I like it. I started listening to Ghost from their first album, but actually,
Okay.
my number 10 is from their newest album, Impera.
Yes.
And having now been listening to the album for a few weeks and owning it, the songs have changed for me, on which I like. So, uh, to me, my number 10 is Kaiserion. And
Okay.
what I like about Kaiserion is that it really has that vibe that it sounds like a Rush song
Yeah.
in some parts, and obviously it's over top. It starts with Tobias doing the and all that, and
Yeah,
it's
that's high
very over
scream.
the
Yeah.
top. Yeah, that high scream, but it works, and it's a funk song, and I think it's a great way to start that album. I really like the Rush influences and the guitars on it, and I think it's very catchy. So in a few weeks, that song has stayed with me, so that's why I pick it as my number 10.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I definitely like how they went in that prog rock direction. I do have a lot from in Impera on my list. That one didn't make it, but I do have a lot from that album. And actually going into my number 9, which is from Impera, I chose 20s. That was one of the singles. I like it a lot because it's kind of a different sounding song. It has that like theatrical type of opening, and then it goes into that really like heavy like metal riff, and something goes to they do have incorporate some metal into their sound. Some people say, are they rock, are they metal? But I think this is really that riff almost reminds me of like classic Slayer. But the song itself, it's more of like into that newer style, like catchy pop song. They use a lot of like different like vocal styles and kind of like almost like a rap rock at times. And that's another song that has stayed with me, for this new album. It's just very catchy. It has that like heavy riff, and that's why I definitely like it a lot. And you will be seeing a couple more songs from the new album on my list. So
Yeah,
that's my number 9.
yeah, that's kind of a dividing song, and
Yeah, I know.
I remember when I did the review from it, I mentioned that in the chorus, there's a part where they do that Middle Eastern that it reminded me of Candy Shop by 50 Cent of
Oh,
some way. Yeah, there was some similarities to it, but
yeah.
it's catchy, but it's not on my list.
Okay.
So at number 9, I have one song from their first albums, which is called Opus Eponymous,
Yes.
and it's called the song is Con Clavi Con Dio,
Yeah.
and that song it's just dark, heavy, and it sounds like they're opening like a choir to a church, but obviously invoking Lucifer.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best songs on that album. I don't think that was a single, but I think it's one of the ones that after listening to it, I really like it, and I've heard it live, and I really like like the bass, it goes do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. It has like a thick, heavy bass to start the song, and then it goes like it's one of their more heaviest songs, guitar driven, and the bass. And I think it's one of the most memorable from their first album. Is one of I think it's one of the first songs I heard from them. So that's why it's my number 9.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good one too. You know, that the first album is like very like, you know, kind of like dark and heavy, and you know, they kind of like changed into that more like their poppier stuff as they moved along. But yeah, there are some good ones from that album. So my number 8, another one from Impera, Call Me Little Sunshine. This one is cool. This was another one of singles. It kind of has like slower, like kind of like almost like a doom metal type of riff, and they mix up the like clean guitars and you know, the heavier guitars, and you know, really great like guitar solo. You know, this album Impera, I think they were moving more towards that like 80s heavy metal sound, and I find that a lot on this song as well. It's just a really cool music video for this one as well, and definitely one that stuck with me. So you know, again, that's my number 8. So Call Me Little Sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that Tobias Forge on that song sounds great. His singing has, I think he's improved with albums, and he's got like this like sound that you already know is him. So for my number 8, I have an Impera song, and it's the last one, Respite on the Spitalfields.
Yes.
After that's just a great album closer. It's epic. It starts slow, but it starts picking up, and it's really memorable. And having listened to that album now for almost like 3 weeks now, I think it's one of the best closing album songs they have on their albums, and that's why I need to include it on the list, because it's just an amazing song, and both lyrically, musically, and I think it ends the album so great that I had to put it on my list.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This album Impera had a really nice like flow to it with the songs. Like the songs really worked well together. And yeah, that's another great one. It has a really great some like guitar work on that one. And yeah, that one probably like could have made my list. Like the last album, I really liked it a lot. You know, so almost like any of those songs could have made it for me. So where am I? I'm on my number 7. This is one from the Meliora album, From the Pinnacle to the Pit. Now, this is another album I do have I think a couple of choices on my top 10. So this is the one album that, you know, I just started listening to recently, because I only got into Ghost from the prequel album. Awesome dark song. It's just, it has that like deep bass, these really like great metal guitar riffs, very dark tone, kind of like a horror kind of story kind of sound to it. The guitar solo is really cool. Maybe I always thought a little bit of like a psychedelic rock feeling in the guitar solo, and it's just really cool. It just won like a dark, heavy song, and from Meliora. And I know you like that album a lot, and that one I think is one of their best as well. Yeah.
That actually is my favorite Ghost album.
That's your favorite, right?
And I have 3 picks from that album on this list.
Okay.
Because I think on that album they reached it was the best of both worlds, because they had their spooky sound and also their pop, but it blended together, and I think it's their most cohesive album.
Yeah.
And after that they went more pop, but I think on that one they found the perfect formula. I wish they would go back to the formula of that album, because I think Meliora is their best album in my opinion. So my number 7 is actually for a prequel, and it was the lead single, Rats. And I really like Rats because, you know, it's fun, it's theatric, and I got to see Ghost when they were on tour for the prequel album, and they opened the record, the concert with that song. And it's a song that, you know, it's sinister, but it's catchy at the same time. You know, he's speaking about rats coming to get you. It's obviously prequel. It's about, you know, the plague in the Dark Ages. So even though it's a dark song, it's also very catchy. And I love the guitar work on that album.
Yeah.
I think on prequel, they did a lot of soloing, and a lot of the solos reminded me of like 80s, like Randy Rhoads type of soloing. And that's why I think Rats to this day holds up like a great single and a great song. And my
Okay.
number 7.
Cool, definitely. Yeah, actually, I will be having that one on my list a little later on. So I won't mention that. Won't comment on that until later. But yeah, definitely a great song. Okay, where are we? Number 6 is Dance Macabre from that same album, Prequel. Another one of the singles, really great hard rock. I think they kind of started moving into more that like 80s arena rock. I get a lot of those like Blue Oyster Cult kind of vibes on this type of song with like the guitars and the keyboards. And it is one of those songs where it's still kind of heavy, it's still kind of dark, but it's also that they're taking that like catchy, you know, those like pop songs and, you know, incorporating that, you know, most especially like on this album and the newer one. And that's why I have it at my number 6. It's just one of those songs that's just really great, like an arena rock song.
Yeah.
And that's why I chose it. So that's my number 6. So the Dance Macabre from
Yeah. What's great about that song is that that's a song that I can appeal to everyone, from kids to your grandma. It has that appeal. It has like,
yeah.
that song really reminds me of disco, kind of like a Kiss feel to it. You know, it has that, no, it doesn't sound like Kiss, but that like commercial appeal. I think it's their most commercial song up to date. And it's catchy. It's not on my list. I like it, but there's other songs to me that I like, that like a little bit more. So my number 6 is from Meliora. I don't think this song was a single, but it's called Absolution. And
Okay.
Absolution is a great dark song. It has a great melody when he's singing that he wants absolution. And it has like a very dark line that it starts like every day when you're born, you start dying. And it's just really dark and sinister. And great guitar work on that one. And I really love that song from that album. It's one of my favorites.
Okay. Yeah, that one didn't make my list, but like I said, Melior, that's a really, really great album. So, you know, almost any of those songs could have made it. And actually my number 5 is one from Melior. It's called Cerise, which I'm thinking I think that's the pronunciation of it. Very slow, kind of has that haunting tone. This one reminds me of like that classic like Black Sabbath, like their classic sound with those heavy riffs. But you know, they kind of do the Ghost thing where they do make it into like a catchy pop song, something that like Black Sabbath didn't really do. And it's just very dark, it's heavy, and I really like the breakdown in it too. It has that like softer, like haunting tone, and you know, lots of different changes in this song. So this was I know this is I guess it was one of the singles, but definitely
The
one
first
that I
single,
thought
yeah.
was one that I thought was one of the best from the Melior album. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, that was on my list too, higher, but it's on my list.
So you can comment on it.
Yeah, I can. So my number 5 is from the album Prequel, and this wasn't a single, but I think this is the best song on the album. It's called Faith. And Faith is it starts like with the pounding of the drums and a guitar going and yeah, it's really catchy. And he's talking about there's some great singing on it, very evil, menacing at times. And I really like the mood of this song, you know, how it carries. It's a fast moving song with that sinister vibe. And I think it was mostly, it has the most like, it was the best song, like a bridge from Meliora to Prequel, in my opinion, because it could have been on Meliora, because it sort of like kind of sounds like Meliora era Ghost. And to me, I heard it live, and I think live that song is simply amazing. And I wish they would have put that as a single, because it's really good song.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I never got to see Ghost live. Hopefully one day, because I know like when you see songs being played live, it kind of you know, it changes for you. You know, you see them in a different way, and that I noticed with bands that I have seen live. You know, when you do hear the song played in concert, you know, and then you listen to it again, you know, you appreciate it differently. So anyway, my number 4 is from the new album, Hunter's Moon. This was also one of the singles. I really like this because it's the type of song that it was in that Halloween Kills movie, and it's that perfect style of the type of song you would listen to, like they would play like maybe like during the credits in like a horror movie. It just has that like that feel of it, and it's like that like 80s horror movie kind of sound with the just the guitar riffs, the keyboard riffs. Also reminds me of kind of like 80s like Alice Cooper. I'm thinking of those like Constrictor or Raise Your Fist and Yell, those types of albums. Now I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, and you know, I really love I love all Alice Cooper, most of the 70s stuff, but this reminded me of like an 80s horror movie, and that's why I have it high on my list. That's my number 4. So my number 4, Hunter's Moon.
Yeah, that's a great song, and you cannot think of that song without thinking of the Halloween Kills movie. And I think the tone of that song goes great with Halloween, which is obviously a classic movie from the 80s. I haven't seen the new one, but yeah, when it's a song that stands out on the record, Impera, because it really sounds like it sounds like it belongs on a movie soundtrack, which it does. So yeah, it is a great and catchy song, and it's not on my list, but I really like it. So my number 4 is one that you also had on your list, is from Meliora, is From the Pinnacle to the Pit.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, I love this song because I love the name of the song.
Yeah.
And it's a song that's the guitar is very catchy, but it's also menacing. And I think it's one of the standout tracks also on Meliora. And it has that, you know, that it has some memorable lyrics, and it's infectious, but it's also one of their harder songs on that album. And I think it's a great song, you know, to especially like the guitar and the melodies, really memorable. And yeah, it's a song that I think can stand the test of time. That's why I have it on my number 4.
Okay, yeah, definitely a great song. Okay, so my number 3, another one from Impera, called Watcher in the Sky. This one, I just really like it. It just has those really great heavy metal riffs. You know, they have that kind of like that like machine gun riffing where they're playing those like palm muted riffs, and then they do kind of like that string bends. And I think it's just like the guitars really stand out. And, you know, like all the other songs, it is very catchy. It's memorable, along with the whole tone of the album. It has that kind of like an 80s metal feel. And just, it's one of those songs, it wasn't a single or anything, but it just stood out for me. So that's my number 3, Watcher in the Sky from Impera.
Yeah, that's a great song. You know, I had it when I did my review. I put it like it was one of my favorites. I still like it, but after listening to it a while, I just think it's they say "Watcher in the Sky" a lot, like, but it's really catchy.
Watcher in the Sky.
Yeah, they say it a lot, but it's a really great song. To me, my number 3 is from an album that we haven't said any song yet from it, and it's from their second album, Infestisuman, and it's called Monstrance Clock. And this song, what can I say about this song? Just the chorus when they go like "Come together for Lucifer's song." You know, it's just like a hymn of pure evil. Yeah. And it starts like a lullaby. You know, it starts like really where he goes like to the sound of a monstrance clock, and it sounds like a lullaby that you would sing to your child if you want him, to have nightmares at at night, which sometimes as a parent I do. I have some odd choices that I sing to my kids, but yeah, that song, it's really memorable. And at the end, it ends with them like a chanting, saying they come together for Lucifer's song, and it's it goes like that when they take out the music, and it's really it's like a song that it stays in your head and you hum to that. And actually they used that when I saw them, that was the song that they used to finish the set. And watching Ghost live, for someone that hasn't seen it, is like going to a church. It's like going to a church, because they put everything, they put it like it's a church, and you're going to mass, only obviously for the devil. And they ended with that song, and it was perfect ending. And I think that's also the song that ends the album, if I'm not mistaken. And
Okay,
it's a great song. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't pick anything from that album. I think that's the one album that didn't really stick with me as I listened to all the other ones. But I know that's like one of those like dividing albums. Like when I've seen rankings, a lot of people like put that at the bottom. But and I've also heard people say that it does have like a couple of like standouts. So I'll probably need to like revisit that album a little more, just to check out that song. Yeah. But okay, that's cool. So we're up to my number 2, one that you talked about, Rats. Definitely a catchy song. One that kind of like got me into the band. Also, like the prequel album, that is the first album that I started listening to Ghost before. I think I did hear a couple of the singles with Meliora before. But Rats, the prequel, is the first album I heard in whole, but that one I got on vinyl. Everything you said, it's just catchy, really great instrumentation. I really like the breakdown where they have like just like keyboards to the organ, and they play the kind of like those like haunting like organ riffs. Then they bring in the guitars, bring in those heavy riffs, and so like you said before, it's a heavy song, but it's also like a very catchy song as well. And so that's why I have it high up on my number 2.
Yeah, no, it's a great song. And,
yeah.
Very memorable.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is one from Meliora, and you already mentioned it. I think it's Cerise. I don't know how you say it.
I think it's Cerise. Yeah.
Cerise. But I remember not only the song. I don't know if you ever saw the music video. The music video for that song, it's pure genius. It's like Ghost is playing on a stage, but it's not Ghost. It's a little kid dressed like Papa Emeritus, and he's singing that evil song, because that song has that evil that slow building, and then it goes like with more fast guitars. I just love the whole sinister vibe that song has, but it's a sinister vibe also with catchiness. And I think it was the first single they released from Meliora. And actually, before that, I've listened to Ghost, but I think with Meliora, I thought they were cool, okay, but with Meliora, I became a true fan.
Yeah.
When I heard that album, and I was on board, and especially when I heard that song. That's a song that till this day, I think it's one of their best songs. That's why I have it at my number 2. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it's definitely a great song, great album. Okay, my number 1. And it's going to be interesting to see if we matched our number 1s. But my number 1 is from Meliora, called Square Hammer. That's, I guess, the first song that I heard from the band. And it's just, I think that's the song that like made them like kind of like change their sound. It's just super catchy. It's just very more like a pop oriented sound. And, it has like the darker lyrics and everything. It's mostly a keyboard-oriented song, kind of like, like an arena rock song, definitely like a radio-friendly song, but also has some of the like the heavy guitars, but a little mixed, a little lower in the song. But it's just a very catchy song, and that's why I have it at my number 1. It's just one of those songs I just always liked, and so that's in my number 1. So
That's a good song, and they put out they put that out on the Meliora Deluxe Edition. It wasn't on the first one.
Yeah, actually, I noticed that when I went to
Yeah.
listen to it, like it wasn't like part of the first album. It was like a bonus track, but
Yeah, they
that,
did a deluxe edition like with 4 additional songs.
yeah,
And that was one of the additional songs, and they
Yeah.
used that one to promote when they did the deluxe edition. But it also had Nocturnal Me, I believe, Missionary Man, and Bible. But yeah, that the deluxe edition, had those additional songs. But they only promoted Square Hammer because that's a song like, why didn't they have it on the original one? It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
great and catchy.
I was actually surprised when I went to listen to it because I was expecting the Square Hammer to be on the your original album, but I noticed it was on like the bonus track edition.
Back, I don't think artists do that much, but like a few years ago, especially in the past, they did that a lot when they did the deluxe edition, and they added those songs. And Square Hammer, even though it's a great song, is actually not my number one and not on my list.
Cool.
My number one is from Infantissumen 2, and it's my favorite Ghost song ever. It's called Year Zero, and this song is just pure evil sounding. The music video, I remember, it has like Papa Emeritus, and he has like a female members joining. The ghouls they're all female in this video. This video had nudity, and they couldn't show it like on TV like until late night. And this was the first song I heard from Infantissumen, and even though that, to me, that album has like a few great songs, and the other ones are kind of filler for me.
That's what I've heard people say.
But I think, Year Zero still to this day stands out. It's very catchy. Obviously, it's on their first albums, they really like to let people know that they were like Satanists. Because they like on the last albums, it's not as like in your face like it was in the first album. Also on the first albums, they had more of a Blue Oyster Cult feel. They've like changed a little bit that formula, but Year Zero to this, it's so catchy, it's so sinister. I love the lyrics, the vocal delivery from Tobias, like he's singing like really quietly, and then he goes on the choir when he says Year Zero, and he says Arcangelo, and he goes a high-pitched note. And it's a song to this day that I love listening to on repeat. It's just that good. So Year Zero, my number one.
Yeah, that's cool. That's probably like the one song that I almost put from that album. It is. That's a very like kind of like a dark album, but like you said, not the whole album like stood out to me, but there were a couple songs. That was the one song that I think I did like the most from that album. So I'm gonna have to like go back and check out some of these music videos on YouTube. I haven't seen some of the older ones, but cool. That's it. So for those of you still watching, please give a subscribe to the Chill Dude on the Couch. I'll put a link to his channel in the video description, and we'll see you soon. I'm gonna stop recording.